Yo, what's good? This your boy Derek Branch here of SportsView360.com, covering the New Orleans Saints. And today we're going to break down how your New Orleans Saints approach the 2025 NFL Draft and how their real picks, stacked up against all the early mock drafts that we did over the past few months. So let's go get right into it. The draft, is officially in the books. And if there's one thing that we have learned about this team is that the Saints, they're serious about rebuilding. They may not say that. They may not come out verbatim and say that. They're going to say that. They're always going to continue to say they're going to compete for the NFC South. But they are rebuilding. And this draft shows you that they were. Especially on the defensive side of the football. Here's a quick breakdown of the draft haul so far, the final draft haul. So in round one, we got Kelvin Banks Jr. out of offensive tackle out of Texas. In round two, we had Tyler Shuck, quarterback out of Louisville at pick 40. Round three, pick 71, we had Vernon Broughton, defensive tackle out of Texas. Round three, once again, pick 29, 93. We had Jonas Sanker, safety out of Virginia. Round four, linebacker, pick 112, Danny Stutzman, linebacker out of Oklahoma. Round four again, we had pick 139, Quincy Riley, cornerback, Louisville. Round six, running back, pick 184, David Neal. And round seven, pick 248, Maliki Matavo, tight end out of UCLA. Round seven, pick 254, Fadil Diggs, defensive lineman, edge rusher out of Syracuse. So those are your picks right there. And Saints got 9 picks, and they used all 9 picks. They didn't trade up or trade down in this draft. That's how good it was going for them. So mock drafts versus the reality. So now that if you've been following our previous mock drafts that we've done, the last couple of weeks, last couple of months, we projected a few different directions for this team. In several mocks, we had the Saints considering cornerbacks like Jade Barron, who went to the Denver Broncos, pass rushers like Tyler Barron, wide receivers like Jaden Higgins, who went to the Houston Texans. But the real draft board showed something different. And of course it would. Strong focus on rebuilding the trenches and bolstering the defense. You know, so what does this defensive heavy draft mean for the future of this franchise? I mean, first, it tells us that the Saints are fully aware of how much the defense regressed last season. If we're being honest, it regressed. It's been regressed in the past 2 to 3 seasons, especially against the run and against edge containment. So by grabbing impact players at defensive tackle, linebacker, and edge rusher, the Saints, hoping to, reset the tone physically and to bring back, the toughness that made them a top tier unit a few years ago in the Dennis Allen. You know, so still, the offensive balance, Banks and Shuck. Still, it was all defense, but drafting the offensive tackle Calvin Banks Jr. at pick 9 gives his team a foundational piece, to protect whoever lines up at quarterback. Derek Carr, Tyler Shuck, Spencer Rattler, we'll see. And I'm seeing a tweet out there earlier today coming from, I believe it was not Cat Terrell, but Mike Triplett. I heard the presser, the end of the draft presser, where Mickey Loomis said Derek Carr is going to be the starting quarterback if healthy. Duh. But I think all signs are going to point towards Tyler Shuck being the quarterback because it would make no sense to have this guy sit and you hitch your wagon back to Derek Carr. That was like a waste. It'll be a wasted pick if it does. But I think Tyler Shuck is going to be the quarterback, and Derek Carr will no longer be on this team. But we'll see. You know, but Tyler Shuck, the quarterback out of Louisville, gives the Saints an athletic, high upside backup quarterback or potential starter who I think he will be who could be developed under Kellen Moore's offense. This is the guy that he wanted, and they made it happen for him. You know, but the bottom line is this, though. To me, the bottom line is this: the Saints made it clear that toughness, speed, and defensive discipline are priorities for this next era. While the draft did match many mock draft projections out there, exactly it laid out a clear vision for this team to me. How the team plans to compete both short term and long term. Now I would say, to be honest, I've a few of these guys were in my mock drafts that I've done. And for other mocks that I did, like for our other feature team, the Tennessee Titans, I had Danny Stutzman going to the Tennessee Titans. Devin Neal as well. I thought Devin Neal would go to the Titans, and I thought Danny Stutzman would go to the Tennessee Titans. I think John Senker was in one of my previous mock drafts before, a few weeks ago. But the last mock that we did, the final mock that we did, I mocked Kelvin Banks Jr. to the Saints at 9, and Tyler Shuck to the Saints at 40. Regardless of what people were saying out there, I knew they weren't going to take Shedeur Sanders, man. I just knew it, and I knew they were going to take it. I know as close when they got closer to the draft, the last 48 hours, I felt as though the Saints were going to go. They're going to try to address the trenches, you know. So when they did that with the selection of Kelvin Banks Jr., Tyler Shuck, we just gotta wait and see how it's all gonna play out. I'm not gonna get on here and slam the pick. Yeah, I know what people wanted, Shedeur Sanders or whoever out there, but I'm not gonna slam the pick right now. It's too early for that. We don't even know if this guy's gonna be good first. Wait till he steps on the field. Wait till we get a good grasp of how he's gonna play. What if Derek Carr start? We don't really know. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just gonna hold back judgment on that selection right now. And I'm not. I know a lot of people out there are concerned about the age and all that and things of that matter. But to me, as long as he's progressing, learning the offense, if the Saints come out there, winning with this guy, playoff bursts and all that, get back to the playoffs, even a successful season, even if they go like 8-9 or 9-8 and don't make the playoffs, don't win the division, it's a success, and no one will care about his age. If we're being honest, so the age part don't really matter because if he's good, the contract is not gonna matter either. He's gonna get paid. The Saints are not gonna let him leave the building. But yes, he is 25 years old, and I believe he's like older than Chris Olave or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. They got players on the team that have been in the NFL longer than him, but he is, just coming out of college, and he's older than those players. But I'm gonna just hold back on judgment, man. Hold back on the judgment on on how things are gonna play out. Things are gonna play out, but I'm glad that they addressed the defense, the defensive side of the football, because a lot of these guys are getting old, getting up there in age, aging defense. They need to be replaced, and hopefully these guys can be the players that do that respectfully, with all due respect. You know, so we gotta wait and see. We just gotta wait and see how it's all gonna play out. There's still more room for improvement for this team. I mean, it didn't really address finding a big body wide receiver, but maybe that's a guy you could find out in free agency. A guy like Keenan Allen is still out there. Asante Samuel Jr. is out there at corner. We'll see. But they did. draft a corner in this draft. So pretty much address a lot of needs on the defensive side of the football with these picks. Safety, linebacker, corner. I like the selection of Devin Neal, Fadil Diggs, Matavo, and in the later rounds. A lot. What I noticed about this draft is that a lot of these guys that were chosen have or were significant contributors to these teams. That they put up a lot of big numbers. Danny Stutzman had a lot of plays, a lot of football. Devin Neal, very productive at Kansas, is the program's all-time leading rusher. Kelvin Banks was a 4-year starter, if I'm not mistaken. Tyler Shuck, regardless of how you see it, has a lot of experience playing football. Jonas Sanker as well, Fadil Diggs. So there's a lot of these players that they took were players that got some miles on them in college that have had tons of experience playing at a high level. So there's that. But that's all I have for y'all for right now. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Let me know how you feel. What are your thoughts on the picks in this year's NFL draft for the Saints? And what do you expect going forward? That's what I got. Have a blessed day. Peace. I'm out.